Welcome to Send It John Boats. Today is part 2 of our How to Paint a John Boat Like a Pro video series. Our 1648 project John Boat project Bottomland Bateau is getting a slick paint job today. It is going to be super cool. You do not want to miss this. Stick around, I'll show you how we do it. Send it! If you like John boats, mud motors, and things that make you want to just yell, yeah, yeah, then you've come to the right place, partner. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you go right down below here, hit that subscribe button and a little bell thingy right next to it so that you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you're watching this video and you haven't seen part 1, I'm going to leave a link to it right up here. You need to go check it out first and then come back and watch this video, because if not, you're going to be really, really lost. Enough of me yapping, let's pick up where we left off. Send it! All right, so let's talk about spraying real quick. I've got the gun set to where when you pull the trigger halfway, only air is coming out, no paint's coming out. If you pull it all the way, then air and paint will come out, but pull it halfway, and I've only got 22 pounds of pressure coming out. That is the setting that you want for this one-hit wonder gun. Different guns like to run at different pressures, and different people like to spray at different pressures, but for this gun, 22 PSI is what you need. Now, I'm not painting a show car, I'm not painting a building or a house or anything like that, I'm painting a boat. And I'm going to be using a bunch of stencils, so I'm not trying to cake on a crap ton of paint. All I want to do is just get the color on there, not spraying a bunch of paint. So what we're going to do to start is just halfway pull this and make sure that you blow off the area that you're about to spray and get off any dust or anything that may be on it. So starting back here at the back, I'm going to work my way around these edges first, and then I'll work my way from top down to the bottom. So as you can see, I'm not spraying a ton of paint, and what I'm doing is my fan size is about like this, and I'm overlapping about 50%. So I come in, I spray one, and I only drop down about halfway. So if this is your spray fan pattern, you only want to overlap about that much. So if you get this much, then you move down halfway, and you do that all the way down the boat. So this part's pretty boring. I'm just going to spray it out real quick, and we'll see you guys at the next step. So I'm all done spraying the black. Let me show you another really cool thing I love about one-hit wonder paint. There is no waste to it. All you do, if you're using a PPS system, is relieve your pressure, make sure that your line is off, hold the trigger down, and you can go ahead and pull your gun off. Wipe that real quick. Pull the liner out. And we'll just take this and dump it right back in the can so we don't waste any. We'll have this for another boat or another project later on down the road. And we'll just take this, throw it in the trash. But one-hit wonder paint, good stuff. You don't have to worry about wasting any. No primer needed, and as you saw, this stuff sprays really, really easy. Now as far as cleaning the gun goes, we're in here in the paint booth real quick, but all I'm gonna do is just take this squirt bottle. I've got some lacquer thinner in it. I'm gonna fill the gun up full of lacquer thinner, spray it out real good once or twice to make sure all the insides of the gun are clean really good. And then fill the gun back up full of lacquer thinner, and we'll just let it sit just like this until we get ready for our next coat. All right, so the next thing we've got to do is, after the black dries, which it only took about 10 minutes and it's already dry to the touch, we're gonna go ahead and start putting on our first layer of stencils. So the first stencil that we're gonna be putting on is the black lines for the tree bark. I've got a whole bunch of these made up. I'll leave a link down in the description box below if you wanna know what kind of stencil material this is and also what kind of transfer paper I'm using. But basically what you do is just take your stencil, get your piece of transfer tape, and you can reuse this transfer tape several times. I've used this one about 3 times already. And just get it kind of lined up, lay it on there. And then you'll take a squeegee, get it on there nice and flat, get out all the air bubbles and stuff. So then you just start peeling your stencil off onto your transfer paper. So then once you've got it onto your transfer paper, you can take this and chunk it. We don't need it anymore. And we'll take this out to the boat and get it installed. So I've already been working on the boat for a little bit. I've got some already done. But basically what we're gonna do is line this up at the top, right underneath that rib. Go ahead and push that top down flat and just kind of let the rest of it hang. Then take your squeegee that out nice and flat. Now I've got a little lip right here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually use the squeegee to push up into that little lip right there. I've got a rivet right here on the boat, so I'm just gonna kind of work it around that. And then just hold it out and start squeegeeing it on down. Now, I don't know how well this is gonna show up on the camera, but I've got a rivet here, and then I've got another one here and another one here. So basically all you can do is just kind of work around it as best you can, just to get it to stick as much as you can, and then keep on working. And once you get around this little rib down the side of the boat, you just kind of work it into that little edge right there with your fingers as best you can. And then run this on down all the way to the bottom. So then once you've got it all stuck down as best you can, you just start up here at the top corner and just kind of work these edges off. Now after you use this transfer tape a few times, it's not as sticky as it was before, and it'll want to pull the stencil with it, so you just kind of have to work it real nice and slow. So like on that part right there, it's wanting to pull the stencil up. You just stick the stencil back down and keep on working with it. That's all there is to it. So then you just come back with your squeegee and make sure you go around all those little areas that had rivets on it. Make sure that your stencil is stuck down as best you can get it. Up here in this little ridge, do the same thing. So that's one section, only like, I don't know, 450,000 more to go. But yeah, all you gotta do is just repeat that a whole bunch of times and finish the whole boat. It's pretty simple. It's just like that one time that you stuck all those stickers on the back of your truck. We know who you are. We see you. So I've been out here most of the day working on getting these stencils done after I got the black paint on, and you can see we've made it from there all the way to there. Not even close to being done yet. And we still got the whole other side, the front and the back to do. So nobody ever said having a really cool custom paint job on your John boat was going to be quick and easy, because it is definitely not. I'm probably going to be working on this for the rest of the evening up until after dark, and it will be too dark to film. I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. So I worked well into the night of probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock when I finally called it quits. The only reason I stopped is because the air temperature had gotten so cold and the boat was getting cold, and the stencils did not really want to stick to the cold aluminum anymore. So I made it all the way around the other side of the boat, got the front done, and I made it to here. Still got the rest of this side to do and the back, and it's pretty cold out here this morning. Now, I live in Georgia, but I still got a lot of swamp blood running through my veins from being from Louisiana. Anything below about 75 is too cold for me to be outside, but I'm suffering through it today because we've got to get these stencils done. So I've got my heater out here, just a little portable propane heater. What I'm doing is just kind of letting it heat up the side of the boat a little bit so the aluminum is not so cold and the stencils will stick to it easier. And what I'm going to do is finish up the rest of this side, finish up the back, and then hopefully it will be warm enough I can go ahead and start spraying the next color. So it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just finished all of the first layer of stencils. And although I was so excited to finally be done, because this has taken almost 2 entire days to do, I did forget to do one thing. I've got Jolly Roger flags to go on each side of the boat in the back, and I also forgot to put the numbers on the front. So what I'm going to do is put the Jolly Roger flag up here about where I want it. I'll have to go in and peel all these stencils off, and then I'll just cut them around the flag. All right, so we're finally done with the first layer of stencils. Oh my God, that took forever. So before I spray our next color of paint, which is gonna be that olive brownish color, if you guys come up with a good name for that color, leave it down in the comments section. We gotta come up with something for that color. I don't know what in the world to call it. But before we spray that next color, I'm going to go over the entire boat one more time, wipe it down with my naphtha really good. You can use Prep-Sol or whatever you want. Just make sure it's a good wax and grease remover. I want to cover two things really quick before I do though. One, you'll see that while I was working with the boat with the stencils, I didn't have any gloves on. What I did was I washed my hands really good with degreasing soap like Dawn before I touched anything, and just make sure not to touch my face anytime in between. So it shouldn't be too dirty, but just in case, I want to wipe it down really good. The second thing I want to cover is the stencil color. I know that some of you guys are going to see that some of the stencils are yellow and some of them are gray. It's not anything different. It's just that the company that made the stencils ran out of the yellow and then they had to start using gray. You're going to be even more confused here in just a minute. The stencils that we're going to put on next are actually green, so don't worry about it. It's all the same kind of stencils. It's just they make it in different colors. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get everything wiped down really good, and then right before I paint, I'm going to use this little squeegee real quick, and I'm going to go over all my stencils one more time just to make sure that they're laying down nice and flat. All right, so I'm kind of racing against daylight here. I went ahead and brought one of the studio lights out. It's going to help shine some light on the boat so I can see what I'm painting really good. As far as spray gun settings for this next coat, they're completely the same. 22 PSI, same fluid, everything. Everything's exactly the same. The only difference is when I spray this coat, I'm going to make sure that every pass is completely 90 degrees to the boat. What you don't want to do is turn the gun at an angle either way, because if any of these stencils are not pushed down really well, what happens is they get what's called feathering, where the end of the stencil lifts up and you get some overspray up underneath the stencil. So as long as you keep the gun 90 degrees and only spray at 90 degrees to the actual boat, we shouldn't have any overspray issues if there is any stencils like around the rivets or some of the bolts going through the boat that didn't stick down all the way. So I just finished up spraying the brownish greenish color coat. I don't know what we're calling that color yet, but I just finished it up. So I'm gonna call it quits for tonight. It is dinner time. This kid is hungry. Are you hungry?
No.
No, Daddy's hungry. So I'm gonna let that dry overnight. I would love to get the last coat painted tonight, but it is getting too dark, and even with the bright lights, it's still really hard to see. So I'm gonna wait till tomorrow morning. We'll get the last coat on. So just in case anybody wants to know, I used about 1.5 quarts of black on the first coat, and on this coat I used right at 1 quart. I had that thing filled all the way up, so it was right at 1 quart. So we're at about 2.5 quarts is what we've used on this 16-foot boat so far. So that's going to conclude day number 2. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning for day number 3 of this paint job. Say, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
I hit it. Now we're going to roll those bloopers here for you in just a second, but as always, let us remember, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a boat. Bye, guys. Watch it, because if you don't, you're going to be really lost when we start filming, or when we start. Well, we've already filmed it. Why would we start film? I
love your gloves.
You love my gloves? Mm-hmm. I love my gloves too. On boats. In today's video, we're doing we're doing part. Yeah. All right, so you gotta put your hand right there like that, right? Welcome to ATF Hydrographics. In today's video, I totally said the wrong channel. This is not, well, we're at ATF Hydrographics, but we're not. This is wrong. It's wrong. God.